kind of deep down, I kind of feel like I was kind of rejected. As I mentioned, I had to go through that to be where I am now, to be in this exact spot.
But it finally, that opportunity came.
My wife was also like, who's you busy talking to?
This
Like, you
time
put
at
all
night.
this lights on and put the phone down, and I'm like, die bok het gebel. And she's like,
Ek is jou bok.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Ruckers, and welcome to Behind the Ruck, supported by SuperSport Bet. This is the show where we bring rugby personalities, the best stories, and we make sure that you get to know the rugby players even better. We pride ourselves in doing something different, in being a bit proactive, being outside of the box, and going above and beyond for our Ruckers. Guys, so let's settle down. Episode 75 is here, and today will be memorable. Guys, I am your co-host. I am Rudy Page, and next to me...
Ooh, Akuna Matata, say DJ in the building. Emirates Airline Park, eh? The house of the Lions, eh? Fantastic, look at the scenes. Beautiful, beautiful scenes. Not in our days. Not in our
No,
days.
partner, this is absolutely elite levels of high-performance sports.
Yes.
And what high-performance sports should look like.
100%,
It's as
yeah.
close as to having Manchester City, Manchester United, Tottenham Hotspur vibes in here.
Yes, yeah. And you're feeling good, eh? It's been 2 decades since you had the Lions on your chest.
Yeah,
Is
it's
it?
been a long time. The last time I think I was in this change room was 2012, 2011, winning the Currie Cup
Yes.
as a youngster, as a 21-year-old. So being here, a lot of changes.
Things have grown, yeah.
And obviously this is a fantastic, historic stadium, and we are... Yeah, it's going to be a massive one today,
Massive,
Ruckers.
eh? Massive indeed, yeah. Yo, can't wait for it, yeah, but things are looking up.
Yes, guys, Behind the Ruck, episode 75. We are proudly supported by SuperSport Bet, associate sponsors to Behind the Ruck. We have Ticket Pro for all your ticket needs, and we are proudly our pedal sponsors on board Behind the Ruck is Macron, also the pedal partner to the Emirates Lions, and we are in the house today of Emirates Airline Park, and we're going to talk all things Lions as they were the only team last week that won a game for South African's team.
We have
So
to
we
give
got onto the
flowers.
plane, we came all the way to Johannesburg and make sure we were part
To
of the
see the
winner's
people
circle.
and to see someone as well. And while we're on that, okay, the lineup is very simple. We're in the Lion Tank. We're in the Safari because we're looking for the one and only, the strong Power Ranger, because he's Morphin Town. Edwill van der Merwe in the building. Edwill van der Merwe, Power Ranger.
Look, House on Fire,
Fantastic,
brilliant rugby player. Excited to get to know him as
Can't wait,
before
bro.
this, Ruckers. I don't know. I know who he is, but I haven't
Yes,
spent
the
time
deeper
with
detail,
him.
yeah.
So
So we're gonna-
I'm also excited, Ruckers. So this is going to be a good one for all of us.
All of us, indeed. Yeah, we're going to spend some time with them, and afterwards, we got to check the results and the fixtures of the URC. We're back into URC, okay? We're done with the Investing Champions Cup and the Challenge Cup. But yeah, so you know, we take, and we take all the way.
Excellent. Let's
Straight
Let's
into
do it.
Oh, it's
Ruckers
more
are
fun
here.
time indeed. Eh? Up next, Edwill
Edwill
van der
van der
Merwe. Ooh, Ruckers, it's getting cold in here. Okay, it's time to do the gritty. You know what it is. Eh? The one and only Edwill van der Merwe in the building. How are you doing? You good?
lekker guys, lovely to be here.
Lekker. In his oma. Huh? Zo?
I love it. I
It's
must
looking-
firstly compliment the Lions Rugby Union. This is simply stunning, Edwill, okay? I
Nothing-
feel like I'm back up as a pro.
Yeah, not in your days.
No.
Back in the day.
Hoekie.
Huh? Hoekie.
Hoekie.
How's the body feeling? Obviously, it's been a tough couple of games, especially with Challenge Cup and URC and the season moving into action.
No, body's feeling great. Obviously, as you mentioned, our changing rooms are state of the art, so they've really invested a lot in our changing rooms and the recovery facilities that we have. So yeah, the body's feeling fresh and ready for the weekend.
This past weekend, eh? Was an interesting one.
There's a lot-
Especially with the Challenge Cup and the URC, fighting everything as well. But we want to know about this past weekend. What happened? You guys playing 180 minutes in 5 hours? What's going on?
Yeah, listen, we were busy with the warm-up and just like before the wings and the rest of the team goes out, we saw the kickers coming back into the changing room. And I thought, this is quite weird. They never come back in. And then apparently the lightning struck just outside the stadium. And apparently everyone ran off the field. So yeah, we were supposed to kick off 5:15. And then we ended up kicking kicking off 6:15. So it was an hour delayed, and we were just all was trying to stay active in the changing room. But obviously, it's tough because they tell you they're going to let you know in 20 minutes, and 20 minutes goes by, then there's another 20 minutes, and 20 minutes, there's another 20 minutes. So it was quite difficult. And then we played till 55 minutes. I had to come off the field again.
Sure.
So it was quite tough, but obviously that's something that we can't control. So it was just basically, the biggest thing for me was the mindset.
And what was the vibe in the change room? Did you guys still stay in the zone, or did you guys let breathe?
Complain. It was feel.
Look, it was quite different for different players. Like for me, I tried to stay active because, I didn't want to get cold again. But some of the guys were watching the Bulls game. Some guys were kind of going through play. Some was busy stretching. So everyone was kind of doing their own thing and finding the right zone for them.
And Challenge Cup now at the moment, how's it looking? I mean, looking at this game, who did you guys play this weekend?
We played against Pau.
Pau. Okay, you got it right. Okay. Yeah.
Is that how I say it? I wasn't sure.
Pau. Yeah. How was the game? Obviously, it was struggling at the end. I mean, they came out firing and they scored the first couple of tries, and then Edwill van der Merwe in the corner, getting cold, eh?
I eat that gras in my
Hy skiet hom uit. Yes. How was the game overall?
No, it was very good. Obviously, we expected it to be a bit more hot, but then just before with the game, we usually go out in a circle and the coaches chat a bit. So we do our coaches chat on the field. We pray usually just outside on the field before we come back in, and then start the basically getting your boots on and everything. And the weather looked kind of funny. So I looked at it and I thought, like, they said it's going to be 30 degrees and hot. And then basically after waiting for an hour and we went outside, it started raining. So it's something that we didn't kind of expect and kind of prep for. But yeah, obviously living in Joburg during the summer, you must always expect the summer rain.
And how have you guys found as a team the Challenge Cup? How have you adapted to it? Has it been a nice challenge for you as a collective?
It's very exciting. So, I mean, obviously now you play against French teams and English teams that don't face in the URC. So it's a totally different challenge. It's very exciting. Obviously, guys get a lot more opportunities to play, depending on how the coaches see fit to rotate the squad. And so everyone gets an opportunity, and it takes a whole squad effort.
And looking forward to the season as well. You got a tough couple of games coming up.
Lekker derbies.
Yeah, let's talk about the Challenge Cup. Obviously, it's not something you guys, when you came to last season, you just missed out on the top 8. How did you see it, especially the Challenge Cup, taking this on? And did you see yourself going into the championship? You want to go into the Investing Champions Cup?
Definitely. So one of our goals for the URC especially is finishing in top 4. So obviously then qualifying for the Champions Cup. But another way to get into the Champions Cup is to win the Challenge Cup. So there's a big emphasis on both competitions. And I think the coaches are doing a good job with managing who plays when and making sure that players are, when they do get the opportunity to play, that they are firing.
And Edwill, if you look from the outside to this current group of Lions players, right? You guys look like friends. First of all, it looks like you guys culturally enjoy each other's company. Obviously, Ruckers, it's just me, obviously, on the Instagram, watching them.
Yes,
but it really looks like even when you score and you celebrate or crappy scores, like it really looks like you guys as a group are very close. Is that correct?
Definitely. I think there's a big emphasis in the team culture. Our 3 mothers are tough tempo and together. So that's what the Lions stand for, and they constantly drive that. I remember on Instagram, Juba asked me if we're still playing cards like we used to back in the day when I was still in Cape Town, and that's a big thing still at the Lions today. Every day there's cards on the table. There's a nice pool table. Between training sessions, there's always guys in each other's company, which I think helps us a lot as a group.
A team, yeah. They're doing everything as a team, but they don't celebrate with him alone. He likes to celebrate alone. Stuff. I want to see
some of the guys has got dancing abilities like myself. We stay far away from it because it's too left knees.
They'll get there.
Can't embarrass yourself on national TV.
And the team management as well. I mean, you spoke about culture, the people and the team you have in the squad, especially from a management point of view. Old Springbok, Jacques Fourie, Monestein, all these boys. What have they brought from an experience point of view and from an educational point of view to the squad?
Definitely a lot of knowledge. I mean, all those guys have played a lot of test matches between them. And for us as players, it's really a privilege to have coaches like them. We know when to let loose and make a joke, and when it's time to be serious, they can be firm. But I think they're finding the balance in between perfectly.
And Jacques Fourie is a coach.
Yeah, we played with him, eh? And Monestein.
And both.
Yeah.
What are they like? Are they...
Look, I'd say personally, Coach Jacques is a favorite because he always starts the meeting with a joke or in the subtle diss to someone or yeah, so that just gets everyone's laughing, and then obviously he gets into his clips and everything. But yeah, he's a very funny guy and very enjoyable on tour, especially.
Very interesting, because the defense coach at the MDVs. Some of the boys are going to take now, okay?
But is it cool for you guys to have someone like him as part of the coaching structure? That you guys, obviously, I'm assuming you guys were still in school when he played for the Boks. Obviously, one of the legends in South African rugby, and now he's coaching you and transferring that knowledge. Is that a cool thing to experience day to day?
It's very cool. Like I said, he's very funny. So the way he delivers things, it makes it easier for you to understand, because he's coming with a kind of a joke or a subtle diss, but then he'll obviously help you right. But for me, that I receive information like that very well, because obviously I'm not tense. Then he first makes a joke and then he tries to get his point across.
Makes you feel comfortable.
Yeah, very comfortable. And yeah, all the coaches they're very knowledgeable, and it's really like a privilege to be coached by them.
Part of it, yeah. Now things are growing and things are looking nice. But for you personally, as an individual, how have you adapted to Joburg life? Obviously, the two of us played together before, and there was talks about, and he was like, it's gonna be. How have you adapted this past couple of years and adjusting?
It's been very. Just before I get to that, I don't know if you remember, I asked you when I was still at Stellenbosch, listen, how must I go ask my father-in-law now? How must I go ask for the daughter's hand in marriage?
Yes.
I remember you gave me a couple of tips there in the bus. I think we were overseas. I can't remember exactly where we were. Or I think actually it was the British and Irish Lions when we were staying in the hotel. So obviously went to Juba for some advice on how to ask the father-in-law. And I must say everything went quite smoothly. But yeah, obviously it was a big move for my now wife and I. Obviously I've known Cape Town my whole life, born and bred in Kylemore and Stellenbosch. So that's all that I really known my whole life. And kind of the backstories that I didn't really enjoy or like with the career trajectory, the way my career was going at that point, and obviously got the opportunity to come to the Lions. And you come at this crossroads, because obviously I dreamt about playing for the Stormers. This is since I was a little boy. I wanted to play for the Stormers, wanted to play 100 games for the Stormers, 150, whatever. And like it just didn't go that way for me. And obviously got the opportunity to come to the Lions, but now you're like I don't know anyone in Joburg. Like obviously some teams, some friends from school.
Did you know no one?
I knew no one at the Lions.
Just you and wifey.
It's just me and wifey.
And doggy.
So it's just the two of us and the dog. Yeah. And obviously it's something that I prayed about for clarity. And the thought of coming to the Lions gave me peace, and that's why I knew it was the right decision for me. And packed the bags and came to Joburg.
And how was that initial transition? Was it tough? Did you miss home? Did you call your mother a lot? What happened there?
No,
it's got a wife now. You can't.
Apologies, fair enough.
The only tough thing that I remember was my parents and my grandma dropped me off at the airport, and that's when I kind of sunk in, because obviously I knew I was kind of prepping, moving to Joburg, but when they dropped me at the airport, that's when it kind of sunk in, and we all cried together just before I went through the gates. But yeah, since then the Lions really have gone out of their way to make me feel welcome. Gave me a place to stay before I could get my own place. Was quite close to the stadium, so coming to training was easy. The coach really made me feel welcome, and not just as a player, but as a person as well, which I think is so important. And it's something that the Lions really drive, is being good a people's person. Being interested in what's going on in the guy's life actually outside of rugby. And that's what I enjoy, because I've never really had that in a professional environment before, where the coach is actually taking an interest in, what do you like? What do you do? Because you're here from 7 to 3, and then from the rest of the time you're at home. But what do you do, and what do you do on weekends when we're not playing? Which I really enjoyed them taking interest in. What gets Edwill ticking.
That is so cool to hear.
You
that.
and wife are taking on the world.
And sorry, partner. I want to quickly, just while we're still in Joburg, what was the biggest differences that you had to get used to?
The beach.
I'd say that when people ask me what I miss about Cape Town, it's obviously family and friends, and then it's the beach, because wife's from Strand, so used to go there on weekends, and then we used to go to the beach a lot. That was kind of our date thing to do. There was no more beach. But yeah, it's been really good. It's very different. It's like they say, it's fast-paced. Everything moves a bit quicker. The only thing that I think Cape Town has a one-up is the roads are quite nice. He has a bit of potholes.
It's
and
fine. And some of the traffic lights doesn't work.
Yeah.
It is what it is. We move on.
we make it work.
We make it
to
work.
survive.
Yeah, exactly. That's also like the mindset that I came to Joburg with is regardless of whatever happens, I have to make this work. You know, I've got this opportunity and just grabbed it with both hands.
You gotta adapt to survive. Chameleon is smarty boxing. You know that.
100%.
And you know about adjusting off the field. Likes and don't likes. We kind of know. He likes his Fortnite and his PlayStation.
Call of Duty.
Call of Duty.
Call of Duty.
Not Fortnite anymore. For the kids.
I used to play. Wife plays Fortnite now, but I think,
wife?
Yeah, I got wife into gaming, and then there was a stage
Smart.
where.
Guinness Book of Records. He's the
Listen,
only man that can do that. Get his
Listen,
wife
she
a
was
PlayStation.
playing on my PlayStation, and whenever I said, okay, I'm going to play a game now, and like, but she wants to play. When I was away with the box, came back with another PlayStation. So wife has a PlayStation, I have a PlayStation.
Don't lie to me.
We have two different setups, and sometimes we will still play Fortnite, but I mostly play Call of Duty, and she'll play Fortnite with her cousins.
So you sometimes play together.
Sometimes play together, but she loves her Sims. Obviously, I'm not going to play
That's
Sims.
testing the marriage, eh? Fortnite together.
It teaches you a lot of patience, and we actually played this
At the
game
start, it takes time.
called It Takes Two, which is a co-op game. So the screen is split. Highly recommend It Takes Two. So these two doll characters, one's a male, one's a female, and they navigate life together, and it teaches you a lot about your relationship because every challenge you have to do, someone has to do something for the other person to be able to go through a space, or I have to press this. Yeah, very, very much teamwork, and it's split screen, and we really enjoyed that. So I think that's where the gaming
Working
career
together as a
kicked off
team.
as well. Yeah.
Yeah, but when the salary comes in, they must work together as a team.
Seatbelt, bro. Yes, I wish I could play that with my wife. I think 5 minutes into it, and we are arguing.
Because you decided to play golf. 5 hours. You played 1 hour.
Your seatbelt, Ruckus, I apologize, but your seatbelt is off. It's a lose.
We're ending the year like that. Yeah. Let's talk about the most important stuff. I mean, in my opinion, I think it's for you as well, your best moment this year. It's making your Springbok debut, green and gold. And I mean, ever since we played together, that was your goal. You had your challenges when it came to Cape Town. You had the challenges here. But finally, that opportunity came. Talk to us, that experience.
Yeah, it's difficult to put into words. I mean, you guys can imagine how it's playing your first test for South Africa when it's been your dream your whole life. And, I wasn't expecting it. I think previous... I didn't know. Nothing. Like, okay, so our seasons work now. We finish in June, and then we start kind of August. So there's a bit of a break. And ever since I left Cape Town, I've never booked a holiday because I've always had hopes of being in the squad. So there's never been we're going to do something, go away. It's always like, okay, wait for the squad, and now see.
And then they start booking. Prices is high. Exactly.
And then this year, so obviously we got married in December. I had a small honeymoon in Tilbach in the mountains. It was quite nice.
And your anniversary was it yesterday?
It was yesterday. So 1 year. Thank you very much.
1 year.
Yeah.
Well done.
Happy.
Romantic time?
Yeah, 100%.
Nadine will speak to him. Okay?
So this year we said, obviously if it happens, it happens, but I personally said I can't keep waiting for this thing because I'm putting so much pressure on it. And obviously when you look forward to something that much and it doesn't happen, you obviously get knocked down, and then
very deflating.
And then but I've always my life hasn't been like smooth sailing within terms of sports achievements. Like obviously there's teams that you don't make and you kind of pick yourself up. And I've done athletics my primary school and high school career. So there it's very much one man. So obviously if you make it, you make it. If you don't make it, it's on your own. So I've kind of learned through athletics and through sport how to pick yourself back up, which is a big credit to rugby especially. So yeah, obviously when you don't get that call up or that SMS or the email, it's quite deflating. But I've got a good support structure around me, my parents, my sister and my wife, and my whole broader family for that matter, who always send a message saying it'll be okay, tomorrow the sun will come up again. But obviously it's very disappointing. And through all my challenges, I've learned how to pick myself up again. And I don't know how to put it into words what exactly I do, but you kind of ponder it a little bit and then you let it go. So actually, long story short, this year we booked a proper honeymoon. We were gonna go to Spain to watch the F1. Wife is a big F1 fan.
Jeez.
A Lewis fan.
Yeah, Lewis fan.
So
you know.
she's now a Ferrari. Is she Ferrari?
She's off to Ferrari already. She's packed the bag. She's off to Ferrari. And so the thing about the honeymoon that was exciting to me was we're gonna go to Rome because I love like ancient history and like gladiators and all that stuff. So I love that.
Yes.
So we're gonna go to Spain for a weekend and then spend a week in Rome. And obviously, I don't watch F1 at all. When the wifey watches
like
F1, I play for it. I play Call of Duty. That's the balance. So my wife said, "Listen, just watch Drive to Survive. Get a background, get a favorite driver, whatever.
That's
we're
how I
gonna watch.
started
We're gonna
then.
get we're gonna be there the whole weekend. You know, just so you know exactly like what's going on." And so we were supposed to fly the Thursday, and this is now the Saturday evening before the week before. So maybe 4 or 5 days
Before you were supposed to fly.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm wifey sleeping next to me. I'm on my phone on Netflix watching Drive to Survive, and there's a phone number, like it's 11 o'clock. A weird phone number.
At night.
I'm thinking, is this an insurance company? You
get
know,
I get a
True caller,
decoder.
who is this? You know, and I put the phone down because I'm not gonna answer now. Like it's 11 o'clock on a Saturday. I'm not gonna. Whoever wants to phone me tomorrow. And obviously, I'm watching on my phone, and the notification comes down, and it's hi, this is Charles Wessels from the Springboks. You've been selected. I'm trying to get a hold of you. Yes, jy meneer, moet jy make my man. Luister, ek sit al die ligte, vroutjie slaap, ek sit al die ligte aan. Ek sê toe vir hom, sorry, ek het nou die oproep gemis, maar ek het doodgedruk.
Yeah.
Ek sê sorry, ek het dood, kan ek net goed terugbel? And he phoned back.
I'll phone back.
Yeah,
I'll use my airtime.
Yeah. He phoned back. And obviously said, congratulations. And I was like, I couldn't because, like I said, this is the first year I didn't expect it at all. Came as a massive surprise.
Easy, yeah.
And he phoned and he said, like, you have to be in Pretoria. At first, I thought I must be in Cape Town. That's how nervous I was for this call. Like, I didn't even hear properly what he said. But yeah, he phoned and he said, you have to be in Pretoria tomorrow. And my wife was also like, who's you busy talking to? Like, you put all this lights on and put the phone down. And I'm like, die bokke het gebel. And she's like,
Ek is jou bok.
that too. But funny enough, I'm thinking about it now. Maybe a week or two before, we're not really into horoscopes or anything, but like now and then she'll send something through. And obviously, my horoscope for that month was something along with the lines of like your opportunities are aligning. Be ready for whenever your opportunity comes. And she sent it to me, and my reply to her was, "Listen, the season is finished. Like, there's no other opportunity." Or like, what do you mean? And she's like, "Well, this is what the thing says." And like immediately when I said the box called, she said, "I told you so." So yeah, it was a nice moment. Obviously, I phoned mom and I phoned dad, but no one's picking up. It's 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
I phoned grandma. I'm phoning sister. No one's picking up.
And you here.
And I'm here. Listen, it's 11 o'clock. Wife and I, we on the bed there, we dancing, you know, we jamming. And it's getting too close to 2 o'clock and we still can't sleep, you know. We nog gaan slaap môre in Pretoria.
Yes.
And we put the lights off and then we still kind of see each other and we're like looking at her and smiling, you know. It's like, So no, it was a very special moment. And then obviously going on to my debut at Twickenham, it was just incredible. Like, yeah.
And what was that first encounter when you got to the box and now you're getting your kit back and you Rassie and Tony Brown? How was that moment for you?
Listen, I'll tell you, I was more nervous for my first box training than I was for the game. Because I was, you see, because respectfully, whenever we play the other South African teams, like I don't care who it is, like it's compete. Like I'm a very competitive person.
We're going at each other.
We're going at each other. So I don't care like who I'm playing against this weekend. Like we're competing and we're equal. But obviously when you get in that environment, you see he's the owner. Like
it's a different, it's the same person, but it's different.
It's different. And you see them differently. And obviously like seeing Coach Rassie, and I've only ever seen him on Chasing the Sun. And obviously like he's heroic in that documentary. He's very heroic. So when I saw him for the first time when we greeted, it's like, okay, I'm here now. Like trap it mooi.
Did you have a Tom Brady moment? Hello, Coach Rassie. I am Edwill van Merwe. This is the best decision.
Like, no, I know who you are. I selected you. But obviously, introducing myself to everyone. But like the nice thing that when you get there, like everyone already knows you. Like obviously you introduce yourself, but they make you feel so welcome very quickly, which I must commend of the box. Like they make you feel very welcome. Obviously, like I said, like you stay in your lane, but you know they give you like a platform to just be yourself.
And you got your debut week 1. I mean, a lot of people get into the camp and it takes a season or 2. How excited was it to see, listen, yeah, and even to get a start as well? How was that?
Very blessed. Like I say, I was very nervous for my first training session. I didn't want to make a mistake. But yeah, like obviously you ask guys like my Pimps and Cheslin and Curtly guys who've been there. You kind of ask them like, listen, what are they looking at? And then like selflessly, they to help you. Like obviously we're competing as well, but the main priority is everyone who tells you who's been in the back environment is South Africa, and it's about helping the next guy who's going to get the opportunity. So obviously it was very nice for me, and then I could kind of see the way we were training. Like, listen, there's a chance.
Oh, is it?
There's a chance. I'm not getting ahead of myself, but like there's a chance.
Yeah, because you're training with the even the right side.
You know the team that takes that.
You always know.
And it was kind of like that moment where in the meeting, I remember specifically Coach Rassi said, like, listen, in front of everyone, like, Edwill, like, it was the first time he also, like, spoke to me directly in a meeting. So I'm and it's like, Edwill, just remember, like, how it works. To the new guys, how it works is you have to train to be selectable. And Edwill, a guy like you, I remember Chesy then went for a scan. He's like, if I were you, my eyes would light up. Like, here's an opportunity. Like, use it, grab it with both hands. And then I was like, okay, yes, he's a geleentheid. And then I kind of saw how we were training. So obviously we had a week prep, and then like kind of a week and a half before the Wales test. And then obviously, got the starting.
Just got the start and got the try as well.
But before the try, not a terrible place to make your debut. Playing at Twickenham for the box, that must have been nuts.
It was the thing that stood out to me the most was the amount of South African supporters that were at Twickenham.
Yes.
Obviously England didn't play, but the stadium was full, and it felt like a home game, which is quite special for me. Yeah, so to play in front of that many Springbok supporters was incredible.
And I mean, that try special.
Yeah.
I mean, on your debut, man.
I have to say this in Afrikaans. Hy gaan werk soek. Hy gaan werk soek. Hy was honger.
Ek was bly vir hom. Ek het die daggie gemis.
Look, I think a lot happened in that moment. But like I said, I was more nervous for training than the match. Oddly enough, the amount of prep that you go through there, like kind of gave me like a sense of clarity and peace. So I wasn't nervous at all. Like for regular URC or Currie Cup, like I'm like kind of fortunate enough where I'm at the position now where I don't get nervous for games anymore. It's more like just the mindset, having the right mindset. So it was exactly the same for my Springbok game, which I thought I was going to be nervous. I wasn't nervous at all. Obviously spoke to my mom just before the game, and she asked like, how are you feeling? I was like, no, I feel like I've done this 100 times before in a previous life. Yeah. So very blessed in that regard. And then obviously, when looking for work, as Paige said, and the gap opened up. Kaboom. And then, I saw the try line, and it's getting closer, and I'm like getting closer. And like, when I scored that try, I was like just overcome with emotion. I looked back at that clip. Obviously, in that moment, like I didn't know what I was doing. It was just like kind of a release of emotion. Yeah, it was a release of emotion. I think because obviously I had such high hopes for myself. Because you get the opportunity, you must use it. You must grab it with both hands. And I think when I scored that try, I think it was minute 75 or 76. So the game was almost finished, and I think like that was kind of the release for me. Like because I was a little bit like you wanna have the perfect game for your football. Obviously, it's kind of not always realistic. But when I scored that try, it was just a release of emotions.
And Edwill, after the game, you spoke earlier about, and I can actually relate to that, where your career. Where you just said, your career hasn't been perfect, like there's always been a stumbling block, like someone that doesn't giving you opportunity. But once after that game, was it like, that's why I had to go through that so I could be in this moment now?
Exactly, that's how I see it now. I had to go through everything that I went through in Cape Town. Kind of my career being slow and, not going the way I wanted it, and kind of like being unhappy in Cape Town. And then now looking back at it, it's just I'm seeing that it was God just preparing me for this opportunity that He had for me. And then obviously when I got the opportunity to come to the Lions, people always ask me why did I come to the Lions. I always say I came to become a Springbok, and like now I can actually say like I've achieved that goal. So yeah, it's massive.
That's
for me.
special, yeah. And I mean, when you were in Cape Town as well, it was a long list of wingers, and you had to sit behind all of them. And I mean, I also think like the way he was waiting for his opportunity. Listen, I'm not booking the holiday. All that accumulated to you being relaxed on debut, and that's what you want to be actually.
And I'm very fortunate where obviously I'm 28 now, which is usually quite late to make your debut. But I always say I took the scenic route, and I think I was more prepared for the opportunity when it came. Being 28, being a bit more mature now, I guess then being maybe a 23-year-old Edwill would have maybe not been ready for the
appreciation of it.
Yeah, and there was someone who once told me, a priest in our church, who said jy kan nie avokado op 'n ryp drukkie.
Yes.
Jy moet hom in die koerant sit, jy moet hom in die kas sit, jy moet hom laat.
Geduld.
Ja, geduldig.
My ma het altyd vir my gesê, vroeg ryp, vroeg vrot.
100%.
Okay, so we use that in rugby also. But part of the one thing that is, and I know we're talking about, some guys make it early and there's nothing wrong with it. But it's also nothing wrong with becoming a Springbok at 28.
Yeah.
Because you've done all your fine, it's like a clay pot. You've fine mastered, you've molded to the product that you want your rugby to be. And I think that's almost a better place to be at.
Yeah,
because I can relate to that actually. I made my debut at 21 years old, and sometimes when you make it too early, you're expecting, tomorrow will come, tomorrow will come, tomorrow will come. And like John Smith always told us, it's easy to get your first one, but to get to 15, to get to 100 is the tough one. But at that age, you're so young, and you're just going with emotions. You don't appreciate the small things around you, and it can make a big difference at the end of the day. Yeah.
Definitely, I 100% agree. Like I said, I think everything that I went through like molded me to be the perfect player and the perfect person to grab the opportunity when it came.
Oh, this is like a deep. We're having a good time. Let me go deep. I want to talk a bit also about Kylemore. Growing up in Kylemore.
Yeah, Merwe. Huh?
Yes. I asked him when we drove, I was like, partner, where's Kylemore? Is it close to Pinyal? Because I wasn't too sure. Can you please explain to me where is Kylemore situated? Because I'm not from Cape Town, so I'm just disclaimer.
So the easiest way to describe where Kylemore is situated is it's about 10 minutes from Stellenbosch in the direction of Franshoek.
Next to Pinyal.
Okay. Right next to, so it's neighboring towns. Yeah.
Okay. Wellington, Perel.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So a very, very small town. Not the richest, like in terms of money, but rich in love and passion, and people love rugby and
characters.
Yes, and everyone supports everyone, and die anti-kin, die kind of
close.
It's just like whenever there's someone like my mom will ask me, wie se kind is hy? Dan is sy sê nee, anti-D, and they say, okay. So it's a very, very small town, very community orientated. And yeah, I grew up in Kylemore. Obviously, my very good friend Herschel Yankees.
Oh yeah,
the two of us grew up together.
Is this the two of you Springboks, or is there more?
Two of us are the only Springboks.
Okay.
Uncle Ivan Jacobs played for Saru previously that I know of. But that's the only person that I know of, yeah.
And then from there, primary school there and high school, by the high school?
Polderwas.
Now, I was very fortunate to go to Laerskool Eikenstad in Stellenbosch.
Damn it,
so
vroeg op hotel.
Yeah, so that's where it kind of started. And I remember a funny story of going to grade 1. My mom told me this when I was a bit older. She said, I told her, I can't wait to go to grade 1. And she was like, yo, Mati, this guy's ready to learn and to read and write. And apparently I told her, now I can't wait to go to grade 1 because I'm going to get to play rugby. So I think it started at a very young age for me. Like I had the passion that one day I'm going to play rugby. And I think even when she asked me, like, what do you want to do when you grow up? And I was like, always like, it's rugby. There was no backup plan.
Yeah.
It was always rugby.
Was it always been single-minded? I will make it.
Rugby.
I've always had this faith that regardless of how my career is going, even when I was younger, obviously coming through the ranks in Cape Town, I've always had the faith that I will make it, regardless of whatever's happening. Yeah, so I've always had the faith that one day I'll play, obviously for the Stormers, and I'll play for the Springboks one day.
And sprinting and stuff, fastest in the school?
Yeah, I did athletics when I was in primary school. Grade 4, I went to SA, so I was then the second fastest under 10 boy in 2006. Grade 5, I went to SA's again.
Dus je het gelopen?
Yeah, 80 meters and 100 meters. That was my events. So when I was 10 years old, I was the second fastest. And under 11. I was the third fastest boy in the country under 11. And like I said, like obviously I mentioned, you kind of go through things, and then I got to grade 6, and like I didn't even make the SA team. Like I went to made Boland, and then I think I made the Western Cape team. I can't remember 100%, but I know I didn't make SAs, and that was the first but like last year and the year before I was the second fastest. Now I'm not even qualifying to go to SA, so that was like kind of the first hard but it's okay. Like you're not always gonna win in sport. That's what my mom always told me. Like it's okay not to win. Like as long as you keep going and don't give up. So that was the biggest lessons that I took from athletics as well.
And your reaction, I just want to quickly, I think I've got an idea, but your reaction, you substitute that with hard work. So as soon as you got a setback, do you then go to, okay, ek moet nou graft?
Yeah, 100%. Like even from a young age, I kind of like, in my mind, it was like, if I do this, but the next person's not doing this, I'm going to have the upper hand. So there was a very long time where I was like I gave up like gas cool drink and like stuff like that. Like even like when I think I was like, maybe matric, I stopped drinking cool drink just because like if I'm drinking cool, not drinking cool drink, but you drink cool drink, like I'm going to have an edge on you. So it's always like that kind of mindset that I've had. Yeah. So always like when there's a setback, I always like try and like, where can I find the upper hand?
And pressure for you as well, pressure from the outside, but pressure from yourself as well. I mean, it was pressure for you getting a bursary, go to the school, go to the high school, one of the best high schools. What was the pressure like for you? Is it like, I've got a bursary, I have to make SA schools, I have to make the first team, I have to?
Look, I was very fortunate in the sense that there was no external pressure or expectations from me from my parents. They always said the biggest thing is you must enjoy it. Like, geniet yourself. Remember to play with a smile. My mom always said you never know who's watching, so just like enjoy yourself. You never know what opportunities might come from. So that was my mindset. I'm just here to enjoy it. And then, so like I said, like there was no pressure for me to make any teams, or there was always just constant support, which I really appreciate from my parents and my family. So I could just always be Edwill at all times. I didn't have to pretend to be something, or didn't have to pretend I'm okay when I'm not okay, because I always had that support structure.
And what is Edwill like in Kylemore? What Edwill will we get when he's at home, in his comfort zone, in Kylemore?
So now when I go home, it's mostly to see family, but obviously when I lived there when I was younger, it was constantly with a ball in my hand. I was playing in the road, playing touch rugby, playing cricket with my cousins. And I'm very fortunate where I grew up. All my family from my mom's side lives in Kylemore. So like the street goes like in the U shape. So the wall dividing where we live, the behind is my grandma. So you can go around the street, but there's like a little gate. So my grandma lives here, and I can walk to my great grandma and my aunties. Like everyone lived in a very close vicinity of each other. So I was always constantly around cousins, obviously older than I am, but I think that made me tough, obviously playing touch rugby. And then obviously I was the first one to cry, and then I take my ball and like, hy toe meneer, is klaar gespeeld nou.
And then you guys did a rugby ball?
Yeah, rugby ball or cricket. And obviously always something would happen, and I would cry and I would take my ball and would go home, and then my mom would be there like, Boeta, maar jy kan nie dit doen nie. Jy speel mos nou met die ander kinders, you're playing with everyone. And that also teaches like, okay, then I take my ball again, and then I go back, and then we continue playing. So small things like that. Also like, obviously you get hurt and it molds you, and like that's very much molded me into the person that I am today, is playing in the street, and also where I got my fine skills, like obviously playing with my older cousins, trying things that they're doing, and that's
we
where
used to play in the streets as well, but we played with the juice bottle key with guys. Okay,
no, look, we used to make used to make a ball, like a tennis ball, like the green would come off, and then just that black part that's like, the shape of a tennis ball was like. Okay. We used to put sellotape around, and then the game goes on. The ball breaks. So there was sometimes there was a ball, sometimes there wasn't, and we used to make a plan.
You look like one of those guys. Sorry, I mean you look like one of those guys who took his cricket bat and wickets and goes home. I'm done with you guys. I'm going home.
Like, I must apologize now. That was me when I was growing up.
Apologize to friends.
All my cousins, I'm very, very sorry for that.
It will just quickly, I have to ask you this question. When it comes to rugby and when it comes to education, it's a tough thing to do, and you were privileged enough to have the degree. I mean, at the stage where your career actually kick-started early enough with the Marties and even with Western Province at the time. What was the challenges for you, and how did you do it? I mean, we tried it. We grab and go a lot of times, but to go for 4 or 5 years.
Why are you looking at me like that?
4 or 5 years is always tough. What was the challenge for you?
Yeah, no, it's just the basic is time management, because obviously, like I said, my mind was on, I'm going to make it in rugby, but my parents said, like, listen, just have a backup plan. And I was like, okay, what do I enjoy? I enjoy being in a sports environment. I want to study sports science, and from a young age, from basically grade 8, I knew what I wanted to study. I knew what subjects I had to take, and I think I'm very fortunate in that sense, where a lot of people maybe get after school and they don't know what they want to do yet. So from grade 8, I knew, okay, I want to study sports science. And yeah, obviously went to Marties. It was very challenging because obviously it's not a professional environment yet. It's semi-pro, but you're also a student.
Tough.
So finding that balance between obviously having a good time with your friends and studying and playing was very difficult. But it's not impossible. And I remember back then, there used to be the head of rugby at Marties, Mr. Quentin van Rijn. He said, remember, you were a student before you were athlete.
He's the CEO of Holland now.
Yeah, he said, you remember you were a student before you were athlete. So make sure you spend enough time on your studies, because obviously you have to get your credits to continue playing. So that was a big focus for me.
Thanks, Edwill, for sending me on a guilt trip. Thanks, Edwill van Merwe, for sending me.
So it's SNC,
proper guilt trip. Okay?
SNC. So when I'm the box one day,
but fair enough, it looks like, just judging, it does look like a guy.
That's why Mr. Beats six-pack and soup.
Does look like a guy who can be very difficult in the gym with his...
Kom. Drink your
That's his form. That's how we do this. What's your time?
Very much discipline. And also after rugby, I'd like to open up my own gym. So that's kind of where I'm working towards now, is having a plan after rugby.
Own gym.
Done.
My own gym.
Free membership for the two of us.
I can take you in the mornings.
Yes! It will just quickly. This game this weekend, obviously massive one. I mean, great season for you boys ahead. You're playing a big couple of games before the end of the year, and you're playing at the DHL Stormers, against your old teammates. And looking at last weekend, they're resting a couple of... So massive game when it comes to URC. How do you find it? How's it for you especially? Coming from those worlds and feeling this weekend?
I think you know.
Huh? I know.
There's usually a bit of niggle in those games against the Stormers. Obviously, I come from there. And just for me personally, like it's always gets me fired up because... kind of deep down, I kind of feel like I was kind of rejected. So I always have that kind of feeling whenever I step.
You remember the memories?
I remember the memories. Obviously, there was good ones, but obviously some that's not so good. And as I mentioned, I had to go through that to be where I am now, to be in this exact spot. But obviously, going back, there's a lot of but I enjoy it. Obviously on the field you compete. Like I said, I'm very competitive, but off the field, like you friends again, and it's good to see all the people that I used to play with.
And Edwill, are you a verbal chirper? Are you
very much because I pick it up from playing Call of Duty.
Okay.
So very much in your face.
Sy gaan sand eet.
I remember you can ask him, but obviously offline. When we obviously we played in Athlone. I think it was last year or the year before. Jua was playing. And also, like, again, it's a very personal game for me. And I remember, like, obviously playing against Juba. And I told him before I left, meneer, when I come back, I'm going to come for you. And it was very much, like, obviously, like, in the moment, sometimes you say stuff, like, obviously, but, like, the nice thing about rugby, never gets, like, personal. And the important thing is if you're able to dish it out, you must be able to So, but I love that about rugby. It's very competitive for me.
What did you say? Did you tell that you consent?
No, I was humble. Okay, sorry.
Yes.
Thank you very much for making the time. I know it's busy times for you. Massive game and an away game, especially this coming weekend. But all the best as well. I mean, may everything you started in 2024 just add to 2025 and just build on those caps. Man.
Yes,
super season.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it. And it was like chatting to you guys. Obviously, important part of our season lying ahead for the Lions. Obviously, an important game on the weekend. And every game for us we see as a must win because we want to finish in the top 4, as I mentioned earlier. So, looking forward to it.
Happy days.
And please make sure Kylemore subscribe to Behind the Ruck. Okay? Kylemore moet rakkers wees after this.
Okay, Kylemore, one job. Okay?
Also, I just want to add one more thing. I love your jerseys. I think red suits you guys much more than blue.
Yes. Hakuna Matata. Mufasa in the building.
This is my professional debut, partner.
And look at you now. Big deal.
In an XL jersey.
Thanks, Edwill. Appreciate it. Hey guys, Edwill van der Merwe. Let's go.
Cheers, guys.
Grady. Ooh, that was fun. The stories of the man, interesting stories.
Look, a lot of respect for him, to be totally honest with your partner. How he's persevered throughout this journey to become a Springbok, which is cool to hear that it's not everybody doesn't have it easy. There's certain guys that have to overcome certain speed bumps, and that is sometimes more rewarding for the individual. But he's a fantastic human, fantastic rugby player, and the Ruckers are sorted
The
again.
Ruckers are sorted, eh?
Yes.
Incredible story. I mean, he had to be patient to the stuff that he achieved, and like we said, like some people get it early, some people get it later on. I mean, Dion Fourie got it at 35. But yeah, his story coming from Kylemore, having his challenges in Cape Town, coming in, he looks happy. He looks happy in the red. Okay.
Joburg's a good place.
Huh?
Joburg is a good place.
It's a good place.
I'm telling you, it's a good place to play a rugby. Fantastic facilities that we got here, and hopefully this Lions team, they can cook up something really good this year and go back to what they were when they played 3 Super Rugby finals in a row. So fantastic.
Come on, the Lions, eh?
Brewing here in Johannesburg.
Final of the Challenge Cup, in the top 8. Here we go. It's Mufasa time. Okay, straight into rugby, because we spoke about them, the only team that got their W. Let's get to the results of the Investing Champions Cup and the Challenge Cup. Bulls 21-30, Northampton Saints. Then Leicester Tigers 56-17, the Sharks. Harlequins 53, Stormers 16. Then quickly into the Challenge Cup, we have our big boys, Lions 43-35, Pau with Cardiff 26, and the Cheetahs didn't get it at the Challenge Cup as well. Ooh, some cracking rugby. Let's start with the big one. That Jake said we need some coffee and we need some water at times.
Look, pretty disappointing results for Bulls. Fans, or all of us players, fans, like losing at home at Loftus, they would have taken that one really hard. Especially they didn't play bad rugby. They obviously just didn't capitalize, unfortunately.
Some incidents here, the try they could have scored. I mean, the two of them going for it at once, and I mean there was a couple of 50-15s with the Saints as well. So it's kind of like, yes, the Bulls should have used the opportunities when it comes to 22, but it's a game it kind of slipped away.
Yeah, but it's a ripple effect. It's the same as the final of the URC against Glasgow. Also didn't use our opportunities. We paid a heavy price. Now again, an important game, Investing Champions Cup game at home, not using opportunities. We paid a heavy price. Now all of a sudden we're going to need to win one of our away games in the Investing Champions Cup to qualify to go to the knockouts. So a very difficult loss to handle for us. It's not the end at all for the Bulls team.
It's just a lot to take, especially with playing Cast away, and then you're playing Stade Français coming to Loftus. So 2 crucial games, and if you can get the away win against Cast,
that's a tough place to play rugby. Cast is obviously, they don't have the big signings in the world, but it's an extremely hostile place to play rugby. Top 14 rugby. That's going to be a very difficult one to go and. The Bulls are going to have to do it. They've got no other choice. They've digged their own hole now. So they're going to have to go to Cast and obviously get a W that side.
Hopefully, yeah. And I mean, it's URC times now, so it's a good build-up, especially for them when it comes to next year. But then the Sharkies, we kind of know what they're sending. Not a B team. A lot of guys got a little bit of rest against the Leicester Tigers. But Leicester Tigers at home is a tough one. And especially when the main man at 10 is hot, as he was, man of the match, Andre Pollard. But yeah, a tough one for the Sharks to take, especially after a run, and especially what we said last week, they're a team that kind of can get things going. Hopefully with the home games, they need to get going, especially when it comes to next year.
I'm not too worried about them getting going if they left half of the, not half, a whole
a couple
team.
Of the boys,
they left the whole team back in South Africa. So look, John Plumtree was laughing at 70 minutes in the booth. So I think they took their medicine. They understood they're not going to risk their Springboks. They left their Springboks at home. Sian them were in Cape Town. Grant and them were in Paarl. So all of the main Springboks were at home. So
and that's going to be an interesting one, especially looking at this weekend against Sharks versus the Bulls. I mean, everyone is trying to build momentum now in the URC. Looks like it as well. I mean, that's where it comes into the Stormers as well, arresting a couple of these boys. A lot of guys got the opportunity this time around. I mean, we had Clayton Blommetjies and some of the boys playing.
It's my frustration, partner. I'm going to be brutally honest.
Last year we had this problem. We had a problem again.
So we wanted to play in the Investing Champions Cup. Now it's here. Now we play B teams constantly. So it's obviously creating this thing where a lot of the European ex-players, pundits, whoever they are, obviously asking questions about South African playing in a European competition, but we situated on the African
we're not
continent.
powering the competition, yeah.
So it is frustrating from my side personally. I want to see Sia Masuku, Jordan Hendricks, Grant Williams against the best of Leicester Tigers. So
Because how would we feel if to lose bring no the point?
It might just happen.
You know what I'm saying? So we want to see the best everywhere in the world and playing around the world. And with this competition, they say it's just under the Rugby World Cup pretty much.
Look,
It's one of the
it's
best.
strange that we send B teams to the Investic Champions Cup, but then we pick our strongest sides for the URC, which is a weaker competition than the Investic European competition. So the other Northern Hemisphere teams have it the other way around, where Leicester rest all of the island players when they play URC, and they keep their main team for the Investic Champions Cup. The same with Toulouse, the top 14 boys racing. Once it is European rugby, it is the big dogs.
Yeah.
Woof, woof.
The big dogs.
The Lions and the big dogs.
Like that,
In the
Bluffy.
building.
Big dogs.
Yeah.
So, look, we're young, we're early days, so there's going to be frustrations. There's going to be a bit of, hopefully we'll get into
And
it.
we'll get this debate. I mean, there's a lot of rugby that they're playing at the moment, and some of the times with the 3 competitions, you got to get your focus at one spot. And it looks to me like a lot of the teams are getting their focus in the URC, trying to get top 8, trying to get the quarterfinals, and they don't give all the not credit, but all the power into the Investic Champions Cup, which is a good competition.
It's the best competition
I
in the
mean,
world.
if you're top 4, you're going to playoffs, and if you're number 5 as well, you're playing in the Challenge Cup as well in the quarterfinal. So it's not to say if I don't get everything in the Investic Champions Cup that I'm going to be out and not play a lot of games. So a lot to take into account, and hopefully we'll come to next year. I mean, January we'll see a lot more and see where the competition is actually going and who goes to the quarterfinals and not. And the Lions boys, 5 hours of rugby in Edwill is set now, up and down a little bit. A tough game. I mean, they start. It's not a great start when it comes to the Lions, but they did well. I mean, they started 14 or 10 points behind, and then they tried to fight their way back. But a lot of credit, especially guys like Edwill van der Merwe and the boys. I mean, he came back from injury as well, and he's sparking like the house on fire. And it's good to see how they're still trying to get everything into the Challenge Cup and trying to get momentum in there. And hopefully if they win the Challenge Cup, it's just an easy access. They don't have to get top 8, even though they want to, but to get into the Investic Champions Cup.
Look, they're probably the one side that can do it the other way around, that can focus on the URC, that can only play the strongest side in the URC to get the top 8 qualification. So, look, I think the Lions has looked good for the past 2 years. Last year, they just lost a lot of games they shouldn't have in the beginning of the season. So and this year they've been off to a brilliant start. They've maintained that momentum, and I'm rooting for them. I'm really rooting for them.
South Africa, especially after this past weekend.
Exactly, they took us into their home.
They were flying the flag, and they give us.
Developing really good young players, a lot of young Springboks that made their debut this year that's in that team. So the future is looking really bright for Lions Rugby at the moment.
Yes, we're going to get them up there. Okay, and we're looking forward as well. It's week 8 now, we're back into URC.
That's confusing.
We're back into URC, it's week 8, yeah. And it's only 2 games because it's the summer splash. Okay, and the first game, it's Stormers versus the Lions, and that will be 3:45. And then straight after that will be Sharks versus Bulls, and that will be at 6 o'clock. Guys, resting up, a lot of people fresh. I mean, the Stormers are fresh, waiting for the Lions. The Lions are coming off a high. What are we expecting? And I mean, you got guys coming from Cape Town that's hungry for this game. Everyone's under pressure.
Do you think the Lions can beat the Stormers in Cape Town?
For me personally, it depends where the injury list is at. Will we see a couple of the senior players that got injured the past couple of weeks? I mean, BJ, will he be back? Will Mani be back? How sharp is the boys that's coming back now as well? I mean, hopefully Damien Willemse will play. If we can have that, and it will be a great encounter, especially against a Lions team that come off a brilliant win after 5 hours. I think they have the ability to beat the Stormers, but it's going to be a tough game. But I'm still going to back the Stormers to pull this one through because they've rested a couple of players, and we are very desperate. Sitting at the bottom of the log, I think it's a must-win for us.
And let's say the Stormers lose this game. What reasons do you think particularly would make the Stormers lose this match this upcoming weekend against the Stormers? What would they do not well to make them lose the game?
for us, we need to make sure that we sharp enough and execute, especially when it comes to inside the 22. And hopefully the senior players are sharp enough now, and hopefully we had a week now to get these combinations going. Sometimes the rest is not always good as well. But for me, we just need to make sure that we're physical. I mean, the Lions, we all know they're going to come with their running rugby. They're going to be all around, throwing the ball around, especially at 3:45 this weekend coming. And they would know how desperate we are. We are super desperate to get into the top 8. We are super desperate to stay in the Investing Champions Cup. What a crack of a game that will be. It's a summer splash. Cape Town is heating up, and Christmas is heating up. And everything is heating up, yeah. So we're looking forward to that one.
Look, I'm pretty intrigued to see.
Where are you at?
No, I'm intrigued to see how the Stormers handle pressure. They haven't been under pressure in the URC
4 in a row now.
for 4 years. So this will be the first time that a Stormers team will be under pressure.
Yeah, we
and
lost
I'm going to
4 in a
see
row,
how they're
so-
going to react. Hopefully Sasa will be back for them. Look, if I'm the Lions team, I would target this game with everything I've got.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, losing, the Stormers have lost 4 games. So we're under a pump, we're backs against the wall. So that's why I'm so excited for this weekend's game. Summer splash on the way. And the other one was all Sark in the Shark Tanky. The boys are flying, desperate.
Sharks are favourites, definitely. Sharks are definitely favourites. They
Resting the players, they well rested for this weekend's game. Bulls got a knock last weekend, so the confidence is a bit low. So what are we expecting?
No, even if the Bulls won that game, I would have still gone with the Sharks being favourites. I just believe the impactful Springboks that they have in their team is a little bit more than my beloved Bulls. They have way more impactful Springboks in certain situations. It's 1 Oxenche, 2 Bongi Manambi, then it's Sia Kulisi, even Etzebeth for Grant Williams, Jaden Hendrikse at 9, 12 under Estes and Mapimpi. So there's impactful Springbok players all over the show for the Sharks. They are starting Springboks.
So you're saying the Sharks will...
I believe the Sharks are definite favourites. I'm interested to see what kind of reaction Coach Jake White will get out of his team after back-to-back losses. How angry will this young Bulls team be? What type of influence will Willie Leroux have on the team? Going down to Durban, humid conditions, hot, dry, slippery ball. So there's a lot of nuances for me that I cannot wait.
Yeah.
But clear favourites has to be the Sharks going into this game.
I think with the desperation of the Bulls, I'm other way around a little bit. I mean, they've got only this one game before they go on a 2-week break before next year. And I mean, they're under pressure. I mean, and we've seen what the coach Jake actually said in the media and stuff like that they can do better. And that was a game they should have won at the end of the day. And we spoke about having a little bit of a week, and hopefully it depends. If the Sharks pitch up with the guys that are getting a rest, is a different story. But I think the Bulls will be desperate to make sure that they're sitting pretty at the lock, desperate to get into the top 4 actually with the Lions as well. So that's going to be a great, interesting counter. I mean, 2 games, not like Investing Champions Cup where it's 11 games and you don't know where to take. So it's time for the Ruckers, okay, to heat it up with these 2 games, and we're ready for the summer splash, yeah.
The summer splash, is that what they're calling it?
Yes, it's summer splash in Cape Town, so it's...
Yeah, they're getting creative now, Ruckers, with these names.
Yeah.
God damn it.
And
So it's no more derbies, it's summer splash.
Yeah, it's summer splash. And I mean, you got your coastal derbies, and we're going to get your Yuckskate derbies and all this, yeah. But it's summertime in Cape Town, and hopefully with the boys coming down, the Lions coming down, and also the boys after that, the Sharks, is going to be interesting.
Awesome. Ruckers, I want to, from my partner and myself, you guys will be enjoying Christmas soon. Let's stay safe on the roads, please. Let's make sure that we don't drink and drive. You know, guys know that Edwill, Papa wag vir jou. I'll try and put my seatbelt also on for this festive season. Please, let's be safe. Let's arrive safe at our families' houses, and wherever we're going, let's make sure we share love this festive
100%,
season.
yeah. 100%,
Please, guys,
yeah.
and make sure we like, share, and subscribe.
Subscribe all the time, yeah. And okay, and a Merry Christmas to all the Ruckers. Say, appreciate it. And spend it family time. It's a crucial time, and be safe, like my partner just said now. It's exciting times. Take these moments, enjoy it, and have some fun, because 2025, we're coming for you. Eh? Much love, yeah.
Guys, Behind the Ruck is proudly supported by SuperSport Bet, our associate sponsors on Behind the Ruck, namely Ticket Pro. For all your ticket needs, make sure you go to our social media platforms. The link tree will have a direct link to Ticket Pro, and also we proudly our apparel partner
Macron in the building, and we're looking good with our Macron in the building.
Nice and red today. We look really good.
Is
Okie,
that episode 75?
75 is trifle time for
That's
me.
a trifle time.
I need to go home, have some of my white wine,
family time.
some turkey, not in South Africa, as a wienertjie with braaivlees.
Yeah, so there we go, fam time. Hey guys, I'm Johan de Jong.
I'm Rudy Pates.
And the Rack is clear. Merry Christmas.